At the beginning of the year, I had it in mind to start a private practice with faith-based and evidence-based infused treatment in mind for people within the Pearland community. And I kind of hit the ground running, filing my PLLC and then filing for a trademark, getting my website, just a whole 9 yards. And like so many of the other projects that I do, it was not fireworks, it was kind of like little puffs of smoke. Just didn't seem like it was happening for reasons that I couldn't have anticipated. For instance, going on ZocDoc, I was trying to like list my services on there, but apparently they don't take LCDCs strictly, they take LPCs. And so I couldn't go there. I couldn't advertise on Google because that requires a very expensive certificate that costs a lot of money. And quite frankly, if you're not like a rehab who is raking in the dough, it's just not going to happen. And so here I am wondering, like, how in the world am I supposed to get clients in here? It's not like there's a lack of need out there in the community. It's just that I didn't know how to reach those people. And all of those factors coupled in with the fact that I kind of came to a realization a few months back. I was talking with my pastor. I said, you know, ideally I would be doing addiction and recovery from a place of passion, not from a place of, you know, needing financial stability from it. And that kind of struck me, you know, because here I was going to school, getting my education, doing my internship in order to be a drug counselor, and it was a long journey, much longer than, you know, the 4 years that I anticipated for it to take, what with COVID and all kinds of side endeavors that I pursued within that span of time. So for me to come to grips with the fact that I didn't want to do this full time, or at least I didn't want this to be my primary source of income, was a bit of a gut punch, but it was something that I already knew deep down. I just didn't want to admit it. And so I had it in mind that I was going to quietly just kind of back away from everything addiction and recovery. I was just going to kind of start working on this studio that I'm in, which people expressed interest booking studio time with, using my services and equipment, which I have no problems charging money for. But within the last few months, just as needs arised within the community, I started taking on a few clients, and I've been looking at ways to keep my overhead low, so that way I can work with people who legitimately want treatment, which is huge. Every other treatment center I've ever worked for, by and large, 90 to 95% of the clients that I saw did not want to be there. They were coerced by family, they were coerced by the school system, they were coerced by their probation officer or parole officer, but they just were not there for themselves. And now here at Samaritan Recovery, I work with who I want. And maybe that sounds a little crappy to you, but I don't care. I was burnt out on working with people who just didn't want it, who were lying to my face about the reality of their substance use. And now I work with who I want, and it's very liberating. I enjoy it a lot, and I look forward to continuing to be a pillar within the community for sobriety and recovery. I believe that my services are much more affordable than a lot of the traditional treatment centers you might look for throughout the community if you were somebody looking for help. And so yeah, I'm doing this kind of part-time in the meantime. I'm doing the studio thing kind of part-time in the meantime. And I'm currently still trying to find some stable footing throughout both of these endeavors. And I feel like I have my eggs in two baskets, but you know what? They're both equally passions of mine that I want to pursue. And so throughout the next season of my life, I'm going to be finding out what this looks like for me, and I'm okay with that. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, maybe you should look for a job over here or look for a job over there. I don't want to do that. you know what I want to do? I want to do things that I'm passionate about. I want to work with people that I'm passionate about. I want to make a difference within my community, and I want to be my own boss. And I feel like this is the path forward. And I feel like God has been blessing Samaritan Recovery in a way that I could not have anticipated. Like I said, I was just going to walk away. But my thought around this is, as long as God is supplying the people for me to counsel, I will continue to do it. And if my caseload ever drops to 0, that's fine too. By the way, I do free consultations. If anybody at all ever needs help that you know of, send them my way. I am more than happy to just text them, call them, talk with them for 15 minutes to an hour and a half, literally, and just talk about their situation and provide them with options. Doesn't always have to be me. Sometimes there's more intensive care needed, but I'm just here to be kind of open and honest with what I see as a clinician and what I think would be best. So with all that having been said, I think that we're living in crazy times. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. You know, it's just a reminder that doing what I'm doing is very necessary within the community. And I hate to end on that sour note, but these are dark times that we live in. And I think for me to be a bastion of hope and recovery within the Conservative Party, my party, I think is very necessary. I think there is a deficit in conservative-leaning counselors. I mean, just working with the environments that I have worked in, I was definitely in the minority in terms of political leanings. And quite frankly, I think that there was a deficit in dignity and respect given to the clients who were openly conservative coming into those treatment centers. Well, not at Samaritan Recovery. Here at Samaritan Recovery, I am here, fully present, and I don't care what your political leanings are. I'll treat anybody, as long as you actually want to get sober. Anyways, I'm just yapping at this point. I guess I'll see y'all in the next one. God bless.